Hello, hi everybody. I am a big Bridgerton fan. Maybe you are too, maybe that's why you clicked. And I'm particularly a big fan of the costumes. I watched an amazing YouTube video by the costume designers, or about them, and they talked about a lot of the costumes, but the one in particular that I found super interesting was Penelope's dress. I loved her look when she changes up her look so much when I first saw it because of the multi-dimensional colors that are in the dress. And the costume designers talked a little bit about how they did that. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, but first we need to straighten up this studio a little bit because it is much easier to paint in less chaos. So we're going to straighten up particularly the table over here. I guess we don't have to clean the area, but it would make me feel more comfortable if we could. I've watched through season 3. I've watched it all, so there may be some spoilers. If you do not want to hear that, put me on mute and that you'll be safe. Or I'll try to maybe put a ding or something before a spoiler. I'll see what I can do. When I first started making videos, I would be very careful to make sure that I didn't show the mess, because I have learned to be ashamed of the fact that sometimes I make a mess and do not clean it up, or that one of my family members makes a mess and I don't clean it up. I've learned that I have been held to unrealistic standards, both sexist and ableist, and that it's probably better for me to show the mess as long as the mess isn't distracting or something like that.
This fabric though, try this on. Okay, we're starting off with...
I wasn't sure which pose to do with Penelope at first, but then I decided to do something where she's moving her hair when she's... What does she do? She it's behind her. She takes off the overcoat and then she pulls the hair over her. I think I want to do her hand there. Number one, I will have one less hand to draw because I'm still struggling with hands. And the other thing is I just think that would be a dynamic view. Okay. You're not allowed on this table. Off. Come on. Off. Go down. Go down. This is what we have so far of the sketch. I wanted it to take up the whole page, and it's been so long since I sketched anything, much less a human, that it was very difficult for me to get it. But I got it. I got what I wanted. So now for the fun part. Drawing can be fun, especially if it's done just for its sake. But when it's in between me and my watercolor, it's a lot less fun, especially on a day like this day where I haven't done it in a while and I cannot get the proportions right. I realized a couple of months ago that what I like most when using watercolor is getting to spread color over a large area. So I made sure that this painting was on a large canvas. When I get to the later layers, which are more detailed, I typically put down color and then blend around it with water. That's always been really intuitive to me, but some people wet the paper first and then put on the color, and then it will just blend seamlessly. I'm using a heat lamp to dry between layers. I do this to speed up the process. I was absolutely stunned by Penelope's dress when she first comes out of it. In it, the colors are just so luscious. But then I loved it even more after watching the InStyle video, because the costume designers talked about trying to get a watercolory look in many of the scenes. And so they would layer the fabric to give that, ethereal look.
There was a lot of layering that was helping to create that painterly effect when you look at Penelope's dress.
I also loved all the sequins, glitter, and sparkle on the dress. People complained that Penelope's hair wasn't Regency era, but neither is Black people and white people getting married in the Regency era. So I just finished eating lunch, and so this has had lots of time to dry. I really like how it's turning out. I'm trying to not overthink things and just let watercolor be watercolor, because watercolor's fun. This is why we're doing this. And so far, so good. And I had a mishap and I kept cleaning it up. And then I was like, wait, what am I doing? Why don't I just let it be a mess? Because we're doing watercolor. Watercolor's messy. And I'm doing it upright because it's supposed to be protecting my neck and back. not hunching over like that. No, I was protecting my neck. It was okay. My neck was straight. It was just my back that's not. Or my hips. So we're going to keep going. By the way, in the past, when I wanted to design clothes, I actually bought I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Turquoise. And I ended up cutting all of the legs off to make it like more close to my height and adding like hips or something to it to make it look like me because I was trying to design stuff for me. And I don't have such long lines as a model would. I like that my first foray dipping my toe back into sketching or painting anything fashion related is on a not traditional model body. I like that we're stepping outside of the box a bit. I decided to mix my own brown for the skin tone because I don't like putting granulation on faces. And that first orange brown that I put down is highly granulating. She was sleep talking a minute ago. Oh, are you awake? Were you talking to me? You were sleeping. Kitty cat. You are out. No, you're not. You know? You're purring. I guess you're awake. Humans are amazing, funny creatures. We are bipedal, odd in the animal world. Then we have these huge brains. And because we're bipedal, we have these hands that have evolved to do lots of amazing things like pick up stuff, manipulate it, make things. And with our big brains, we can make lots of cool stuff. But one funny thing that we do as humans is to do repetitive behaviors, to do the same action over and over. And most of the time, it's actually not us that want to do it. It's actually our work that makes us do repetitive behaviors. If left to our own devices, most humans will do a variety of things with their bodies. But because culture says do one thing and do it for hours and hours and hours every day if you want to get paid, most people get repetitive stress injuries. One of the ways I avoid getting repetitive stress injuries is by dancing. So I take lots of different breaks to do lots of different things. Walking's one of them. Going and cooking. I've got lots of food allergies, so I'm always cooking for myself. Dancing's one of them. The music that I was dancing to, you can't hear because of copyright, but that's okay, because let's keep this on theme with the music. So enjoy this Bridgerton themed break dance to other music and pretend it's the Bridgerton thing. Okay, so things are going pretty well. I made her head or face too big. That's something I typically do. And also I made the eyes wonky, which is something newbies do when they're just starting out. And I haven't painted a human face in a really long time. So I guess that would make me a newbie, at least today. So I I drew the eyes in pencil like just now. Let's see if you can see it. And yeah, that's not in any way accurate. I used her hair to sculpt the face into the shape that I want. It's much closer to the actual size that it probably is instead of it being too big for her body. That's something I'm really struggling with, or at least I was struggling with today. The gloves are very bright there's a lot of contrast on the gloves. I think there's that is the showstopper here is the gloves. at least I'm actually really happy with how the hand turned out. I'm surprised at how much it looks like a hand. Getting some reminders on my phone there. I'm pretty happy with where this is going. There's so many mistakes, but I, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, and overall, it just needs to feel right, and it does. So I'm really happy. A friend of mine from high school who saw one of my paintings a couple years ago said, "Oh my gosh, I bet you'd be really good at doing makeup because you can do contouring and stuff like that." Because I had drawn a face. And yeah, like when you paint or draw faces, you end up doing a lot of contouring type stuff. And this painting, this part here really reminded me of that comment of hers. Okay, so it's the next day and I'm about to check out what I want to change. And I'm looking at, there's not much I want to change, but what I'm realizing is that I have positioned her to be kind of like not exactly a 3/4 face, but almost a 3/4 face. So like this, which makes, if you can see on me right now, I'm doing that. Let's take off the glasses. When we do that, this side's bigger, this side's smaller. This side of my face is larger. This side of my face is smaller. But it's not like obvious in the way I've shaped her face and done the shadows of the face that this is happening, or maybe it is, and I can't really tell if her face looks crooked or not. It'll be really embarrassing if it looks crooked. Then if it doesn't look crooked, then I'll be very happy. Only embarrassing because I'm sitting here trying to fix it. Like if it's just a mistake and you can't help it, well, there's that. But in this case, like I'm making an active effort to fix this. And if that doesn't work out, then it's just like I'm doing, well, I'm obviously not below my level. I'm not working below my level. If I was working below my level, I wouldn't be having this problem. I'd know what to do. So I guess this is just an example of me. This is where we're at. This is what I'm capable of. And I'm going to ask my son his opinion and my husband, because they will be honest and they will let me know if it looks weird. He says it looks weird. So we're going to go with that. We're going to assume that it looks off, and I'm going to just make the one eye bigger and hope that fixes it, because nothing else is like out of proportion. I hadn't planned on doing any colored pencils on this particular painting because I've been having some shoulder subluxing issues, but I ended up just feeling like that's where I needed to go. It felt like the most organic next step. The table's all wet here. I'll try to dry it a bit before we continue with the colored pencils. People have criticized the storyline of Bridgerton in season 3. Maybe they've done it in other seasons, but I just wasn't like looking on Reddit, so I didn't know. But particularly I've been hearing a lot of criticisms of Penelope's choices and Colin's responses to her choices. I've also heard complaints that non-main character storylines were getting in the way, and I didn't really mind, although I felt some of them were a little bit performative, and like I didn't really feel connected to the characters during, here's a spoiler, during like a threesome. I don't have a problem with the threesome, but I just didn't feel like they did a good job of making it feel genuine. All right, so some more spoilers maybe. I do kind of agree with some of the criticisms about, Penelope's choices and Colin's responses. I felt that the second half of season 3 was rushed, and I personally would have preferred if there was more focus on Colin and Penelope's love. And I feel like this mostly could have been fixed just by Colin being supportive. However, as progressive as Bridgerton is, it is still a mix of old and new, and lack of emotional maturity typically, unfortunately, makes for a more dramatic storyline that more people are going to watch. Not necessarily me. I'd probably watch if it was more chill, but it would be great if all of the characters had therapists and worked on themselves. But I guess this is where the show writers have opted to keep things more old school. I really thought that it wasn't going to work out at a certain point, and let's sit down with the painting. Yeah, it looked pretty bad. My son said it looked pretty bad. You know, you can always depend on teenagers to give you like a brutally honest opinion. But sometimes they might possibly say something out of resentment or something. You never know. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I tried to make sure that the focus stayed here. Managed to get that eye to come down a bit. I hope enough that it looks even to me in a few days, even to you all. You guys let me know what you think. Did I save it? Still looking good in my opinion. The editing of this footage made me realize, ooh, her gown isn't showing the burnt orangey color that I wanted. It's showing yellowy green. I ended up using red instead of orange to balance out the color because even with the orange, it still looked really green. One of the things I really love about Bridgerton is the multicultural, biracial approach. I don't completely understand the rules around race, rules of the society, and I really doubt that the show writers do either. In the real world, my husband and I would not have been able to have a relationship or marriage during the Regency era. It makes my heart happy to see people of all different shapes, sizes, sexual orientations, and colors in high society parading around in fancy dress and hooking up with each other. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. After I finished editing this video, I decided to fix her hair. I say that in air quotes. What do you think? Did I fix it better before or after?